And we are live. Hello. Hello, everybody. We are jumping in here. We didn't really give any kind of a notice because our schedules have been hard to connect lately. So we are just going to take it when we can get it. And so here we are on a Tuesday afternoon. We wanted to come live and just kind of touch base and share with you guys some of the things that we've been talking about and scheming about, and very excited. And so much good stuff is happening as we're preparing for the summer season and this session and the self-parenting. And I am really excited because what do we want to accomplish in the summer session? When you think about summer and you think, Eric, how's it going? Eric, you want to share? You want to share? Oh, I got you.
You want to share?
You want to share? You want to be live with us?
We're on live right now, honey.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you, Eric. Love you. But when we think about nurturing what's been planted, nurturing what has been planted in us, and the idea that God gave us last year was to do some self-parenting. And we had no idea going into it what God was about to dig up and reveal. And we wanted to come and share with you guys some of the breakthroughs and some of the things that we've learned along the way, some of the things that our clients have learned along the way. And so that you really have an understanding, because this, I promise you, will meet you wherever you are. And every summer that we get to do this again, God's going to even take a little bit deeper, go, well, let's see what, sometimes we have many weeds in there that need to be yanked out. And one of the things we were talking about is any kind of abuse of any kind, of going back into your childhood and really understanding how can you as an adult parent yourself the way you weren't parented, or the way maybe you weren't able to be parented by wherever your parents were, whether they were struggling, whether they were present, whether they were not, whatever was happening. And the depth of this is so incredible. One of the things that we were just talking about too before we went on is abuse, religious abuse from the spiritual aspect, and how deep that goes and how damaging that is. So Judy, I wanted you to share what we were talking about a little bit, about some great insight that you had, and I'd love to let you take it and go.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So good to be here. I think what I love about this whole process is that it really is empowering, right? So it takes away the victimization of, I didn't have a good childhood, or this abuse happened to me, or I'm this victim. Not to invalidate those things didn't happen, but what this whole self-parenting session is going to teach us and help us is to take the power back and to acknowledge the things that have happened. But now that we have different tools, different coping skills, different defense mechanisms that will be able to get us to the next level, because what got us here is not what is going to take us to the next level. Yeah. And instead of looking back at the old tools, old coping skills, the ways that we processed up until this point, that we can actually, just like in grief recovery, be able to look back and say, thank you. Those were things that were placed in us to keep us protected, to keep us safe, to keep us alive up until this point.
Yep.
And for us to evaluate, okay, some of these things I no longer need. It served its purpose in my life, and I can let it go and say thank you, and gain new tools and new coping skills, right? And some of the things are maybe really great things that you continue to use, and it continues to help you thrive in your life. And so you can continue to, just whatever this process is going to validate, like, hey, you're on the right track. This is really working for you. Keep going. And, for all of us, being in community is so great, because it just helps us to see the mirror, right? For us to, as humans, we all have the same, deep desires of wanting to be seen, wanting to be loved, wanting to feel accepted, feeling worthy, feeling valuable, feeling enough. All these things are just so innate in us. And that is my prayer, that as we go through the
Mm,
self-parenting, is that we can really, heal those parts of us that don't feel whole, that don't feel worthy, that don't
right.
feel enough and valuable. And one of the things that I know Vicki and I were talking about earlier is the damage that happens is through religious, spiritual abuse. And we were talking about how sometimes that is even worse than the trauma that we experience in our childhood, because at least in our childhood, you can have compassion and say, you know what, my parents did the best that they could with what they had. And so there's this understanding of, we were all just trying to make it together, and there can be forgiveness, there can be healing in that sense. But when it becomes a spiritual abuse or religious abuse, that is so dangerous because it's tied to our relationship with God. And when you lose that, and then you lose hope and you lose
Right.
trust and you lose faith. And when you don't have those things, I mean, talk about despair. Talk
Yeah.
about this loss of self, of purpose, of, gosh, what do I even believe anymore? I mean, I know that I've felt that, and we start to wrestle with, gosh, what is true? What are my convictions? Where do I go from here? And so
Right.
I'm really grateful that we're going to be digging into that as we go through the self-parenting, is how do we heal those wounds? And so I've been following a lot of different teachers and healers. And one of the things, this woman, Joel Mann, I think her name is, some things that she has been working through with her healing her inner child through religious abuse. I'm just going to share a few things and tell me if this resonates with you, if any of this, is relatable to you. Um, this is a, an example of some of the abuse that we might have encountered, is when you stand up for yourself, you're considered disrespectful or
Mm,
prideful or troublemaker. Okay. So what do we lose there? We lose our voice. We lose boundaries. We lose our ability to be an advocate for ourselves. Right. Um,
right.
if you have bad thoughts, or if you have, a bad mood or something, you're then considered a bad person. So what does that teach us? It teaches us that you're bad, right? Not that, hey, you're having a bad day, let's figure this out together. But then it breeds shame that you're inherently bad. So that's something that
Right.
needs healing. And sadly, in religious circles, that's where a lot of shame comes in, because your character is attacked when you do something bad, that you're bad, right? Or you're called arrogant if you disagree, or if you have your own opinion on something, or lazy if you need rest. How many of us have heard that before?
Mm.
Or even selfish if you need help, right? Here's some other ones. If you want self-care, if you practice self-care and you talk about loving yourself, then you're considered, vain or prideful. Um, and how about being made to apologize for something you didn't do just to keep the peace? Anyone ever felt
Wow.
that before in
Wow.
in, in our kind of religious system? Again, what does that teach us? It teaches us not to be authentic. It teaches us not to be true to ourselves. It teaches us that we have to please other people in order to be accepted, right? So it's easy to get lost in these things when you practice these things over and over again, and your community and the culture that is built on these um, really bad theology. That's all I can say. it's not it's not true. I mean, it's not of
Right.
God. Um, how about the sin of using people for their time or their work because they're your sister or brother in Christ? How many of
Yeah.
us know that one?
Yeah.
Um, Again, what does that teach us? That you don't have value. You can't stand up for yourself, that your worth your worth is attacked because you should be doing this for free because of whatever XYZ. And then that the well-being of others is totally 100% your responsibility. That if the
That's
people
huge.
around you are struggling or not doing well, and I know Vicki and I kind of grew up in this little bit of the system, and we understand that. But even let's talk about in families,
Right.
right? That if something happens to your children, the parents are to blame, and obviously there's a little bit of truth in everything, but 100% responsibility is on each person, and we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, and I think, to interject right there, I think that that's one of those things of understanding where you have responsibility and where you don't. And that's codependent behaviors and all these
Yes,
behaviors is taking on things that aren't yours. And then there is something where when it is time to take responsibility, it blurs the lines so much that there's not a true ability in a way, to do that. And in a healthy way, there are things that we have to take responsibility for. But there are a lot of things that we carry that are not ours. So
right.
how do you divide that? It's like, how do you separate that? And I know that we could say for both of us that doing this kind of work has made that so much more clear.
Right.
So much more clear. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that was it for this list, but I think it goes back to boundaries. I was having a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with somebody the other day, and they were like, how do I even know if what I'm feeling is of God or is it of my flesh, or, how do I
Right.
know all these things? And when you get caught in a system, whether it's a religious system of abuse or whether it's your family of origin of abuse, we tend to lose ourselves.
Right.
And so this work that we're going to be doing is going back and digging into, okay, well, who are you? Who did God create? What are your dreams? What are your desires? What is it that you want? I ask that a lot in my coaching um, sessions, and you would be shocked to hear that most people don't even know what they want.
Right.
But when you look at Jesus, and when he healed people and when he talked to people, he would always ask them, what is it that you want? What do you want? What do you want me to do for you? I mean, if we can't even get in touch with that, how can God
Yeah.
even bless us? How can God even give us what we want if we don't even know what we want? Right. And so I love that this work that we're doing is helping us to strip away the
Yeah.
things that we no longer need, the things that are maybe belief systems that we've hung on to that were false and negative and no longer needed. Maybe they protected us for certain time, but now for this time in our lives, we're ready to really fly and flourish and take on new tools to move to the next level. So I am excited. I really love that we get to do this together and be on this journey. I know we have some new people that have signed up. We got some repeaters, people that did this last
Mm-hmm.
time. So we just want to encourage you guys, if this is something that resonates with you, if you are sick and tired of maybe seeing the same patterns in your life over and over, maybe it's time to do some digging and time to change the trajectory of your life and have new tools and heal. So yeah, what do you think
So
about that?
awesome. I love it. I love it. And it's so true, because the gift in all of this, when you talk about going back, if any of you can relate to that in that moment, if someone asks you, what is it that you want? Or, and in that moment you sort of go, I don't know. I don't know. Or another one is, how do you feel? How do you feel right now? And what I love about doing this work is the clarity that it brings. And on the other side of clarity is a discernment. And you would ask that question, that your client or that person you were talking to had said, how do I know, when some things are of God and when some things are, and when there is a discernment and there's a quietness, because that connection is strong to God, that's when you're able to hear. That's when you're able to. I had a really cool thing happen this morning, and I know that there's, things that I catch now that I would have never caught, a year ago even, or a while ago. But every morning my alarm goes off at 7. And when I open up my phone, I have the Hebrew date on my phone, and it goes off at 7. And I see a lot of sevens a lot when I first wake up. And whatever was happening today, I don't even remember what it was, but there was the number 4, 5, 6 together. And I don't know if that was the date. I can't even remember. But I'm trying to, because today's the 5th of Tammuz. I don't remember, but I remember I saw 4, 5, 6. And my first thought was, oh, that's in order. Like, it's like 1, 2, 3, or 3 of a kind, or whatever. And immediately God said to me, you are right where you're supposed to be at this time. Because if anybody knows me and you've heard me share, I'm always feeling like I'm supposed to be further along, or, like I wrestle. Like when I go to learn something, I'm super excited about it. And then about halfway through, I begin the downward spiral of, I'm never going to do this. I'm so behind. I have to literally fight my own, And this morning I woke up and I saw that, and there was this peace that came over me, because I just was like, I have one more year of school with Landry. I have, there's all these things that I want to do and that we're putting our hearts and pouring into. And God gave me this, like, this is all on my timing. And I want you to surrender that completely and trust I have you here. And it doesn't mean that you're failing, and it doesn't mean that you're not where you're supposed to be, but it's that you're here, and we're going to, just walk forward. And that was very, very comforting to me this morning. It was either 4, 5, 6 or 5, 6, 7. I can't remember, but just from seeing, 3 numbers in a row, like all of a sudden, all this stuff started happening. And so I think I've been studying more about gematria and understanding numbers and, how God speaks. So when you start to focus on something, you learn, you get more of that in your life. And so I'm very excited to see where God is going to go this year, as even further than where we went last year. For me personally, as we were doing this work, because so much I felt like got revealed and connections got made last year that I can't wait to see where it's going to go. But I can tell you this, I know for one thing, is when we dig down and we heal those places and we release the things that we went to or used for protection, we're able to fully engage in where God is taking us next. And that seems so simple to say, but it is so deep, and it's not easy to do. First, you have to recognize, you have to have an awareness. And then once you do, you're able to, this process will unlock things that you can't even think of right now, that you can't even. And I'm excited for that, for even for us, because we get to experience it right along with you guys. And it's really been so cool as we're counting down, because now we're starting next Monday. We're starting next Monday already, the 21st. Wow. And I just wanted to kind of get the banner up there. If you haven't registered yet, please go to selfcaresoulcaremastermind.com and you can register there. If you know anyone that's wrestling with any part of their relationship with God, with their relationship with their kids, with their spouse, because this self-parenting, it goes into every relationship that you have. You don't realize how things that happen, you're kind of working out those patterns in your life today. Even things that you think you're already over, or you've already worked through. It's amazing to see how deep the roots go, roots. And I'm super excited because I wanted to share one of the gifts that we're going to be giving away.
Okay, before you do that, let me just share real quick.
Yes.
It's reminded me, I love this quote from Dr. Wayne Dyer. He always says, you don't get what you want, you get what you think you deserve.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And so that's kind of it's almost like the Clemmer quote that we say, right? Your results are a direct reflection of your intentions.
Yeah.
And so this deep work, we're going under that. We're going to
Yeah.
the intentions. We're going to what is it that you feel you deserve? And part of the religious abuse, spiritual abuse, is that we're taught that if you even think about that you deserve something, it's sinful, you're prideful, that's vain, that's entitled, right? So it has even negative connotations to deserving. And so I'll tell you, the other day
Wow.
we just moved into a new neighborhood, and I was out walking my dog early in the morning. We're surrounded by these beautiful mountains, and it's really a great neighborhood that we're in right now. And I was walking around, and I just was so full of gratitude. And I had this thought of, wow, I really deserve all of this. I worked so hard to get here.
Mm,
And it felt so foreign, because normally I would have a thought like that and I would stop myself and say, oh, well, that was prideful. You don't deserve anything. You're entitled. You're, whatever, right? I would have talked myself out of it. But I allowed myself that moment of just gratitude, of feeling like this is hard work that's paid off. And this is
it's a
being able
blessing.
to accept
Receive
God's
it. Mhm.
blessing. And I would not have been able to do that had it not been for this deep work that we've been doing. And I'm just telling you, it's so great not have to fight that, because God wants to bless us. Again, we don't even
100%.
live in that realm, because we live in this martyr, if I'm not suffering and I'm not, dying to self all the time, 24/7, then I'm not a good Christian. It's like, okay, well, what about the scriptures that talk about God came to give you life to the full? What about
Right.
that one?
Right.
What if we focus on that one, And I
Right.
mean, they all can coexist together, but I just thought that was such a huge victory for me. Just like you're able to accept, hey, you know what? I'm supposed to be right here, and I'm not in a hurry to get to the next thing. What a
Right.
blessing to have that peace.
Yeah.
And I was able to receive, the blessings of, you know what? It's okay to be proud of all the hard work of getting you to this point, And so I just think those are the healing moments, that when you're triggered about something, you can identify like, wow, this is we're vibrating at a totally different level now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
amen to that.
Amen. And even because when you think about it, you are reaping what you have sown. And with God, it's not taking God out of the picture,
Yeah.
but God designed us to reap what we have sown. He
Yeah.
gave us the seasons. He's preparing us for harvest. He wants you to have that harvest. But even that, when you hear that statement, most people think of it in a negative.
That's right.
You're going to reap what you sow. It's like, when you have a child who you constantly speak death over them because you don't trust them, or you're gonna not, whatever we say, we don't realize that if you flip it, God meant that he wants us to reap what we've sown. He wants us to align with him and know when to sow, when to reap. And he's like, it's this simple. If you align with me and you understand it, you have blessing, and you're living within the blessing, within the boundaries. I remember learning when I had a baby, and I learned, when you're learning how to bring them back into kind of like this area of blessing, of safety, of giving them parameters and, what am I trying to say, boundaries,
Yeah.
It's bringing them back into safety. And it's a funny thing, because for most of us, we're learning that as adults in many ways, but it's a beautiful thing to see. And I love how you shared that. Even for so many of us, when we don't understand that, we can't even receive and accept the blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sharing with someone the other day, like, understanding God's season. So we just got to go through this spring where God was bringing the Israelites out of bondage. And he spent that whole time with them, teaching them, I am your healer. I am your provider. I am your banner of victory. I am your healer. I am your provider. I am your banner of victory. Like, I'm giving you manna. It's like, for all that time that they were in the desert, he's like, you got to get this. Above everything else, you've got to get this.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give you everything. I'm just preparing you so that you can receive it. It's not about who you used to be, or or your sinful nature. This is who I am and who you are in me. And man, it's so powerful when you think about I mean, I'm learning this. I've been a Christian 20 something years, 27, something like that. And I've never fully grasped that. I could honestly say until the last couple years when I've been learning this and going through it and practicing Sabbath, where I'm just practicing. I was telling Judy earlier, for me, Sabbath is I'm not allowed to worry or be anxious for those 24 hours. And it literally, some weeks, that's all I can do, right? Is on Friday night. And now I wake up on Friday and I'm so excited that it's Friday. And I understand the, like, if you're in Israel, everyone does their grocery shopping on Thursday night for the feast on Friday. And it's that time. It's like work is over. It's time for family. It's time. And if you think about it, and obviously to worship and to, you know, to give it all to God. But wow, what an amazing thing to just have that rhythm in your mind and in your heart. And that's what Jesus is saying. You have that time to really, because for some of us, more than others, we're very self-reliant. And I know I speak to many of you on this call. If you're in our group, we're all like-minded. We're all make it happen. Let's go. Let's jump and we'll figure it out. Not all. We're all in this, right?
Yeah.
We're all different. I don't mean that, but you know what I mean. It's like we all have gears and we can make things happen. And it's, you know, sometimes God has had to gone to some pretty deep lengths to get me personally to rely on him and to put me on my back and to take away my breath and to give me asthma or to go through different seasons where, you know, God knocks you down so that he's like, just breathe. Just think of me.
Yeah.
Let's, you know, we're going to get through this. So it's really cool. And how cool is it to think about going into a season where you're going to choose to do the work instead of him having to knock you down and have to get, okay, all right, what do you want me to learn? You know, that happens so much. So this is going to be so powerful. I'm super excited. And one of the things that we're going to be sending you guys in the mail is your very own, all the way from Israel, is a prayer shawl.
Ooh.
And I am so excited about this. It's got tassels, and it's got the Hebrew writing.
Oh,
It's so
cool.
pretty. And what you do is, and I loved this in the last session. What were we doing? I forget. It was God's idea was putting, when he looked down and they were covered in their prayer shawls, it was like looking down at all the tents and where they were worshiping him. And it's just a place where you go in your closet, and you can even use these at different, what was the last holiday that we had? Was it Passover? What is wrong with my brain? Anyway, we had these. It wasn't Passover. Pentecost. It was Pentecost. And we were at my mom's and we had these, and it was just really cute. Over, like, you know, you can do this as a couple. You can put yourself under, think of it as a covering, as a, you know, where God was saying he looked down and he sees all of them under the tent of meeting, you know. We think about these big tents, but I'm super excited. And so I want to get these out as soon as possible, but these are beautiful, and they're going to be, I was thinking about these last time, and it just didn't work out. And I was like, definitely next time. So I was so excited because I was like, I know this time. So when you register and sign up, I'm going to be getting these ordered. So get registered. Don't wait. So I want to get these out as soon as possible. And because they'll take a little bit of time to get to everybody. But that's one of the things that you'll be getting in the mail, along with the workbook. We have a physical workbook that will also be coming in the mail too. So that's always fun to get something in the mail, a little package from us, a little happy in there. And I think you guys are going to really love those. They're prayer shawls. They are from Jerusalem. So
wow,
they're really nice, really beautiful.
Special. That's so special.
Very excited. So we'll be getting those out. So if you haven't registered, please register, selfcaresoulcaremastermind.com, and share the link. Share it if you can. If you share it on your social media, the photo that goes with it, like the image and everything, will kind of automatically pop up. And that would be great. If you know anybody that wants to kind of jump in with you. And we will have guys in here as well. If you have a partner, or if your spouse or a friend, anybody, go ahead and invite them in too. because it's going to be a good one. It's going to be powerful, powerful. Get ready for a powerful 4 weeks. We're going to make
I
the
can't
most of
wait.
the summer. I know, me
Yeah.
too.
I've missed everyone. So looking forward to being back with everybody again and meditating with you and connecting, having our Zoom coaching. It's going to be really awesome. So
Yeah, it will.
thank you.
Now, Judy, really quick, I'm thinking about this. Will you start the meditations on that Monday morning?
Yes.
Okay. On Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll have our coaching on that Tuesday evening.
Night. Okay. So next week. So Monday morning. And maybe that's what we could do is after you're done, you and I can get the exact time. Maybe after you're done with that, we could kind of do our kickoff.
Our kickoff. Yeah.
Our kickoff coaching to get you guys all ready for the week. But very excited. I can't wait. I'm counting the days. Yay. Counting the days.
Awesome.
So we love you guys so much. Thank you for being part of our tribe, of our group. It would not be the same without you. And we're just looking forward to all that God is going to do. So sending you guys blessings, peace, love, and always to be inspired. So love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.